broadcasting from the great state of Texas. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else, inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening. Welcome into the Chad Hasty Show on this Wednesday, February 18th of 2026. We welcome you in the program. Glad to have you with us today as we've got it's another busy show. What can I say? It's election season. We've got people going out and voting today. We've got a few guests who will join us, including coming up at 5:35. We've got Aaron Reitz who will join us coming up at 5:35. He's a candidate for Texas Attorney General, and they're just coming off of a pretty interesting debate last night in Dallas. We'll talk to him about that. We've got Scott Braddock. He's not running for anything, but he is following the races, and we'll visit with Scott Braddock coming up at 6:05 this evening, and then at 6:35, for those of you in HD88, State Rep and Chairman Ken King will join us to talk about his campaign there in HD88, which has received a lot of attention lately. And we had Rep. Carl Tepper in earlier this week talking about that race. A lot of folks have been buzzing about that race, at least on the internet. Online, they have been. So we'll talk to him about his campaign coming up at 6:35 this evening. So we've got all of that going on. Of course, tomorrow is the big debate. Texas 19, the 7 candidates, I think all 7 will be there at Hillcrest Country Club. Of course, it's a free event. You're allowed to come on out to Hillcrest Country Club, and the doors open, I believe, at 4 p.m. There will be, I'm told, heavy hors d'oeuvres. I have no idea what that means. Nick, do you know what that means, heavy hors d'oeuvres? I don't know what that means, but I've been told they're hors d'oeuvres, and that'll happen before the debate starts. So the debate, we're going to get going at 5 p.m. I have been asked to moderate the debate. I've been coming up with questions for the candidates. There's a lot of candidates. Probably means we won't get to nearly as many questions as I want to get through, but we will allow for answers. We will allow for rebuttal. There's going to we're hoping that there will be some questions that are asked that have not been asked yet, and we're hoping that these candidates will separate themselves from each other. That's something that, according to at least one poll that's floating around, I don't know how accurate it is, but at least one poll that's out there shows that the majority of people in Texas 19 have no idea who they're going to vote for yet. So we will talk about that as the show progresses today. So we've got all of that to talk about, the latest in the Senate race as well. We've got some national headlines that we may make our way through and get to. Of course, we want to hear from you as well. What questions do you have about the campaigns, whether it's for U.S. Senate, whether it's for Texas Attorney General, Texas Ag Commissioner? What questions do you have about any of these campaigns? We'll try to get to those throughout the program today. Again, tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. It's going to be the debate, and we'll air that live here on your radio station, and then we'll get back to just a normal show on Friday. Of course, we'll probably wrap up what was said in the debate and so much more. So we've got all of that going. We want to hear from you throughout the show today on anything that you would like to sound off on. You've heard from everybody else all day long. Now it's your chance, your opportunity to sound off on the issues of the day. How do you do it? It's real simple. You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. When you call in, you can dial in at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. The first voice you hear from when you dial in today, it's our good friend Nick. Nick, how you doing today?
Doing well, doing very well. I've been very introspective.
Yeah,
I've been pondering on my myself lately. In fact, we have a question. KFYO posed a question on the social medias earlier today. It was about growing up.
Yeah.
What was your dream job, and did you achieve it? Did you do what you thought you wanted to do?
Yeah.
As a kid, a teenager, even a young adult? Is your life what you thought it would be?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it makes you think. Some of us aged in years can think back quite a long time ago.
Sure.
When, you know what? I don't think it's quite what you thought.
You know, I think you mean the job you have now?
Correct.
Okay. Well, bubble burst.
Not that it's a negative thing. It's just sometimes you end up and you're like, wow, I did not. I never thought.
Yeah.
Never what I think.
No, I can honestly say when I was a kid,
no,
I did not think, talk radio is going to be.
Yeah, that's me. That's where I'll be.
Now, when I was in high school, I very much enjoyed talk radio. I enjoyed politics. I enjoyed talk radio. There were other forms of talk radio that I thought, I'll probably go down that path.
Was it always talk?
Oh yeah.
It was never. You never wanted to be like a oldies disc jockey.
No, I didn't want to. I didn't
want. Interesting. Okay.
No.
All right. Not that I could see you doing that.
Yeah. No.
But okay.
No, I never wanted to do that.
All right. Yeah. Music. Gross. Ew.
Yeah.
Give me the talk. News talk.
It was more of I enjoyed talking.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. And so, but no, when I was a kid, I did, you have that, like every kid, I think, early on, they're like police officer, firefighter, one of those type of jobs.
Yeah, the exciting job.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll get into, digging up some dinosaurs. When I learned about dinosaurs,
Sure.
And I was like, I'll do that for a living. No, not so much.
I think because as a kid, when someone asks, what is your dream job?
Yeah.
You think, what is something I really think is interesting?
Yes.
I think it's fun. Dinosaurs. That's fun.
That's fun.
That'll be my job.
That'll be that.
Exactly.
Why not? That sounds fun.
Yeah. And then life kicks in.
And then life kicks in and ruins everything.
And then bills happen. Emergencies occur.
Yeah.
And
then you grow up. Or you go to college and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go with the undeclared major for a while. I'm going to hang out in college for a while and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have something in mind. Even if you are undeclared, but still, it's I don't know. It's one of those thoughts that it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe there were some similar paths that people chose, but still, I mean, it's, I don't know.
Here's what I would like today. It's kind of an offshoot of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know several people who would fit into this category. What did you go to college for?
Oh.
But you're nowhere near, like the job that you have now has nothing to do with your college degree.
Interesting.
It has nothing to do with your college degree. Has nothing to do with what you studied.
Yeah.
You went down this path, and then you took a turn. You went down a different path.
You know what's
I would love to know.
My sister falls into that.
Yeah.
Graduated college with a history degree. She's now in accounting. So not quite the same.
No, that's
very
different.
Very different. So it happens.
It does happen.
It happens.
Yeah. So I would like to know. We'll throw that out there for the audience today. When we don't have a guest on, we'll get your answers to what are you doing today that had no, for those who went to college. What was your major, and if you're working in an industry that is completely different than where what you majored in, what are you working in? What is it? You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Get hurt in a game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Wake up with local news, weather, and your opinions. Sunrise LBK, weekday mornings from 6 to 8:30. News Talk, KFYO.
All right, back on the Chad HT Show. By the way, I got a text from the one and only Tom Collins. They're from Sunrise LBK on the morning show. I thought he was asleep this time of day. But no, he texted in the westbound side of Loop 289 between Quaker and Slide. Huge accident. Fire trucks blocking, avoid at all costs, backed up almost all the way to University. Yeah, taking a look at our traffic center that we have, that I'm looking at right now. It's Google Maps. That you do have. It is bright red from Indiana all the way to just about to Slide Road. The westbound Loop 289. It starts getting busy at around University Avenue. So yeah, avoid that area. You don't want to be going that way on the loop or on the access roads. You want to stay away from that. You want to stay away. Just take different ways. Lots of different ways to get around the Lubbock area without having to get on the loop. So just stay away from that. It does look like maybe more than one accident there on the loop right now. Looks like at least two accidents up on the loop at this point. All right, 806-680-2790. Texter says Texas A&M Corpus Christi went to school. Degree in speech communications. Works right now heavy equipment sales for 20 years. There you go. So we're taking your what did you go to school for? But your real job has nothing to do really with the degree that you earned in college. You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Let's see. Trump has prepared a speech on extraterrestrial life, according to Laura Trump. Oh, I'm telling you, this is good. President Trump is holding on to a speech detailing extraterrestrial life and spaceships, according to his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, who said the president's waiting for the right time to deliver it. Laura Trump, speaking on the Pod Force One podcast, said the president has played coy when she and her husband have asked about the existence of UFOs and aliens. Quote, we've kind of asked my father-in-law about this. We all want to know about UFOs. He plays a little coy. I've heard kind of around. I think my father actually has said it, that he has some speech that he has, I guess, at the right time. I don't know when the right time is. He's going to break out and talk about it. It has to do with maybe some of the extraterrestrial life. Asked Wednesday about Laura Trump's claim, the White House spokeswoman said a speech on aliens would be very exciting and great interest, but, quote, news to me. Quote, I have to check with our speech writing team. That would be some great interest to me personally. I'm sure all of you in this room, and apparently President Obama too. Uh-huh. What do you... this is... What it really does sound like is just Trump having fun now. You know, I've got this speech, okay, and at the right time, it's a speech maybe about some little UFOs, maybe about some big UFOs. We've got little spacemen out there. We don't know. We're going to tell you all about it at a time that we decide to. What do you think? I would break it out. Do you do it before the midterm elections? I don't know if you do, because then people might panic. I don't know. Maybe you do it as a going away gift for America. You know, like one of Trump's final speech, or maybe how about this? State of the Union. To my fellow Americans and space aliens. What do you think? I don't know. I think that it could be something. Obama clarified in recent days that he has seen no evidence that aliens are real after comments that he made on a podcast went viral where he said they are real, but I haven't seen them. The idea of out-of-this-world visitors have captivated lawmakers and the American public, with House members holding a series of hearings on classified briefings on the phenomenon of unidentified flying objects. A House hearing back in 23 featured jaw-dropping testimony from former military intelligence officers, whistleblower David Grush, who asserted the Pentagon and other agencies are withholding information about UAPs. So, hey, why not? Why not have that as a speech from the Trumpster? Just let him tell everybody what's going on with UFOs. I can just imagine him coming out and going, "No, we don't have any aliens." What do you think I'm going to tell you? You think I'm going to tell you all the secrets? No. Get out of here with that. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can weigh in, sound off on any of the topics that you want to get into. Trump looms over the Texas Attorney General race. That's out of Politico today. We're going to have on one of those candidates for Texas Attorney General, Aaron Reitz, coming up here at about 5:35. The Republican battle to become the Texas next AG has turned into a MAGA purity test with major implications for the future of the GOP after Trump leaves office. Chip Roy, well-known Freedom Caucus rabble-rouser and hardline fiscal conservative who was occasionally broken with Trump, fighting to stay the front-runner for a job that has long been used to aggressively push the conservative agenda and served as a jumping-off point for higher office. The current Attorney General, Ken Paxton, is running for Senate. The next AG will shape the future of the Republican Party post-Trump, playing a key role in leading the conservative legal movement. But if Roy is going to get there, he'll first have to get by State Senators Mays Middleton and former DOJ Attorney Aaron Reitz, who have both carved paths as aggressive foot soldiers for the MAGA movement. The race also includes State Senator Joan Huffman, who is making a more measured pitch for the job. Roy has led in the polls, as all three candidates are trying to keep him from earning more than 50% of the vote in the March primary to force a runoff in May. Their main line of attack, Roy's past dust-ups with Trump, shows he's inadequately conservative in order to represent Texas in court. Roy, in response, has argued that his reputation as an obstructionist in Congress, deep experience in Washington, and deep independent streak with the party demonstrates he'll be well equipped to serve as Texas's top lawyer. Yeah, I saw someone say this yesterday on social media. It's a good problem to have in this race. We got some good candidates in this Texas AG race. We really do. Like, there are other states that would just love to have at least one of these candidates in their race. There's some good candidates here, including our next guest, Aaron Reitz, who's scheduled to join us when we come back here on the Chad HD Show.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
Do you have kids? Then you know the importance of properly installing their car seats and buckling them up correctly to protect them from injuries. Unfortunately, most parents think their children are safely buckled, but that's not always the case. Visit SaveMeWithASeat.org to easily sign up for a free car seat inspection near you. Keep your kids safe with properly installed car seats and by buckling them up correctly so you can save them with a seat. Brought to you by TxDOT.
Heads up, Texas.
So you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas, because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
DSN headlines. Governor Abbott today on a campaign stop in Allen tells supporters a new app would be able to help them track when and if their social media connections voted. Stop part of Abbott's re-election bid. He's pushing hard to support a voter ID, which is a law in Texas. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton files a lawsuit against Children's Health System of Texas and local pediatrician Dr. Jason Jaron. Paxton claims the doctor is hurting children by transitioning them and defrauding Medicaid. Performing gender transition procedures on minors is against law in Texas. The Texas Supreme Court makes a big ruling that could affect your homeowner's insurance. They ruled that damage from tornadoes qualifies as wind damage. A Plano dentist arrested for allegedly performing surgery while intoxicated at a pediatric dental office in Sherman. Another case of the measles turns up in Texas. It's not connected to anyone traveling out of state. It's not another outbreak, but a single case in Bernie. With your Texas news headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
The Texas Comptroller is the chief financial officer of the 8th largest economy in the world. Governor Abbott knows Kelly Hancock will keep the Texas economy booming. As acting comptroller, Kelly Hancock protected your tax dollars and worked with Governor Abbott to fund President Trump's border wall. That's why Governor Abbott trusts Kelly Hancock.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. Results matter. That's why I endorse Kelly Hancock for Texas Comptroller. There is no one I trust more. Vote Kelly Hancock.
For Texas Agriculture Commissioner, do you want an experienced agriculture businessman? Then vote Nate Sheets. Someone trusted and endorsed by the Texas Farm Bureau? Vote Nate Sheets. Someone who will restore integrity to the office. Vote Nate Sheets.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. I'm proud to endorse Nate Sheets for Agriculture Commissioner. He's committed to fighting for Texas agriculture and restoring integrity to the Texas Agriculture Commission. Vote Nate Sheets for Agriculture Commissioner.
Political ad paid for by Texans for Greg Abbott. South Plains weather forecast as we move through this Wednesday. Now, temperatures dropping overnight tonight near 42 degrees. So a nice evening and a nice morning on Thursday. The temperature around 67 degrees. A little cooler on Friday morning with high temperatures mid-60s on Friday. Weather brought to you by Sonic and the All-American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Arbich on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Financial news on KFYO.
And Loney with your money now. Wall Street with another solid day of gains. The Dow Industrials added 129 points, ending the session at 49,663. NASDAQ was up by 175 points. The S&P 500 picked up 38. Minutes from the January Fed meeting showed several officials expecting rate cuts soon if inflation continues to drop. Others thought there may be reason for not having cuts until we see a clear indication that inflation is falling and firmly back on track. Officials did also say that the road to 2% inflation might be slower and more uneven than expected. Gasoline prices continue to average below $3 a gallon, according to AAA. The national average for regular unleaded up 10 cents last week to $2.92. 43 states still below that $3 average price. Shares of cybersecurity firm Palo Alto Networks were down 7% today. Company issued a disappointing earnings forecast for the current quarter with adjusted earnings of 78 to 80 cents per share. That's your money now.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
This is Clay Travis. Don't forget to catch Buck and me on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's the Chad Hasty Show.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Just a reminder, tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m., it'll be the Lubbock County Republican Party debate for Texas 19, the Republican primary. 7 candidates on the debate stage. The doors open at 4 p.m., at Hillcrest Country Club here in Lubbock. Everybody's invited. You don't have to be a member of the country club or anything like that. It's free to go to. The Lubbock County Republican Party does ask you to go to their Facebook page, RSVP, send an email, let them know that you're going to be there. That way they've got enough chairs and heavy hors d'oeuvres ready for you when you get there at between 4 and 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., that's when the debate will begin. It'll air right here on KFYO. Yours truly will be the moderator of that debate, and we'll have a lot of fun. At least I will. I don't know about all the candidates, but I will. And hopefully we'll learn more and more about these candidates that a lot of you, according to polling data out there, still have questions about. So that'll be happening tomorrow. Another race that I think there's still a lot of undecideds. A lot of people still watching this race. It has not gotten as much attention as it probably should, but that's what happens when you've got a dominant Senate race and other campaigns going on out there. But it is important who becomes the next Attorney General in Texas, and you've got a heated primary on the Republican side of who's going to be the next to become the HE. And joining us to talk about his campaign, I think this is like the second or third time we've had him on. It's always a good time to visit with Aaron Reitz, who is running in the Republican primary for Texas Attorney General. Aaron, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
I'm great, Chad. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you joining us. Last night, you guys had a debate in Dallas. It seems like it went pretty well. How did you feel about last night's debate?
Well, I think it went well for me, not so well for my opponents, whose total unpreparedness for this office of the chief legal officer of Texas was on full display last night. You know, one of the things I kept pointing out, and I think viewers saw plainly, was that all of the candidates, all of my opponents can sort of Google and chat GPT and figure out what the right answer is. But what none of them have that I have is an actual record advancing our conservative Republican values through the justice system. And that's one of the things that really sets me apart. It's my record. My opponents have no record. You have to hope and pray that they're going to be serviceable attorneys general. But with me, you can actually look at the work that I've done in state and federal courts all over the state and nation, the positions that I've held, the legal troops that I've led, and you can have total confidence that I'm going to be ready on day one. It's why Paxton endorsed me to succeed him as the next attorney general. It's why Trump brought me to the senior ranks of the Justice Department, called me a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. It's because of my record. And what was obvious last night is that my opponents might be able to give buzz phrases because they're politicians, but they have no idea what they're doing.
Well, okay, I want to ask you about some of your opponents, and because I want you to kind of get into some of what was said last night. You have Mays Middleton, who, according to some out there, he's been dropping a lot of money in this race. Some polls maybe have him moving into second or third place. Just depends on the poll that you look at. He's going by the nickname MAGA Mays. What makes you more? I was wondering if you were going to laugh at that. What makes you more MAGA than him?
Everyone's laughing at it because by the time that the much stickier nickname Mays Middleweight started to gain traction in the media and with my supporters, he got really frustrated and started to affix his own self-made moniker, MAGA Mays, and is pumping it through the airwaves to laughs and cringes all over the state. Mays is a nice guy, bless his heart, but remember, he graduated from law school 16 years ago and has never practiced law a day in his life. He loves spending his trust fund money photoshopping pictures of himself standing next to Trump to fool voters into thinking that he is what he says he is, which is MAGA Mays. On top of his complete lack of experience in the justice system and the dangerousness that poses to transitioning from Paxton to a lightweight like Mays, is the fact that he spent nearly $1 million trying to destroy Ken Paxton. He bankrolled his primary challengers in 22. He bankrolled the House impeachment managers in 23. He was the single largest, most common donor to the House Republicans that voted to impeach Ken Paxton. And then in September of 2023, on day one of the Senate trial, he broke from the conservative Republicans and sided with the Democrats to vote against the motion to dismiss, meaning he voted for the sham impeachment trial to proceed, and then was widely reported as one of the lead whips in the Senate urging for a conviction. So this guy is not only totally unqualified, he's deeply anti-Paxton. And at the end of the day, he can call himself MAGA Mays, but he wouldn't have even been considered for an entry-level legal position in the Trump administration, let alone the office of the Attorney General. And now he wants to serve as the managing partner of the largest red state law firm in the nation? Absolutely not. In contrast with me, President Trump called me a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution when he brought me to the senior ranks of the Justice Department. I was a Senate-confirmed executive at the Justice Department as the head of the Office of Legal Policy, commanding battalions of litigation and law enforcement troops to advance the America First law and order agenda. Mays can call himself whatever he wants, but the president has called me a true MAGA attorney, and that's a big difference.
I want to ask you this back and forth that you've had with Chip Roy. Both of you, I mean, on paper, you both have good endorsement. I mean, you've been endorsed by Ken Paxton. Chip Roy's been endorsed by Ted Cruz. Those are two pretty when it comes to conservatism, when it comes to the legal issues, those are two pretty good endorsements to have. Are you two that vastly different in your mind?
Well, I think another thing that Chip and I have in common is we both have outstanding hairstyles. That's the other thing that brings us together. I appreciate that. So I'll give him credit for that. I know this is a radio program, but folks can Google my name, Aaron Reitz, and see what I'm talking about. Chip and I are exceptionally different. In fact, the contrast could not be more stark. Me, I've been endorsed by Ken Paxton. I served as his deputy and offensive coordinator for several years, leading 46 lawsuits against the 46th president and winning 85% of those cases. That's Auto Pen Joe Biden. When Paxton endorsed me, he said, I'm the only qualified candidate in this race that he trusts to pass the baton down to. Chip, on the other hand, was the very first elected official in America to call for Paxton to be removed from office in October of 2020. He then was the leading national cheerleader in 2023, urging for the House to impeach and for the Senate to convict. So I've been endorsed by Paxton. Chip has a terminal case of Paxton derangement syndrome. Not only does he have Paxton derangement syndrome, but he also has a terminal case of Trump derangement syndrome. Remember, Chip called for Trump to be impeached in January of 2021. He then went on the campaign trail during the presidential cycle of 24, opposing President Trump's nomination to the presidency. As late as December of 2024, Trump was calling Chip a rhino, a grandstander, an egomaniac, weak, ineffective, not smart, in it for himself, delusional, ought to be removed from office, should be kicked out of Congress. Oh, these aren't my words. These are President Trump's words to describe Chip Roy. Why? Because this guy is anti-MAGA. He called MAGA voters mother effers. He told us to kiss their you-know-whats. He is deeply anti-Trump and anti-MAGA. In contrast with me, I've been fighting to advance the America First law and order agenda from the beginning. I was in the Oval Office in December of 2020 with Ken Paxton to challenge the unconstitutional election with filing Texas v. Pennsylvania. I was vetted and hand-selected by the President of the United States, and when he brought me to the senior ranks of the Justice Department, he called me a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. And so I'm Trump's trusted guy. Chip is a Trump traitor. And so while Chip and I have similar backgrounds, similar experiences, kind of, he has been fired or removed from every position he's ever had. Why? Because he's Chip Roy. He hates Paxton. He hates Trump. I've been endorsed by Paxton, trusted by Trump. Very stark contrast. Big difference.
Why do you think the president hasn't weighed in on this race? Has it surprised you?
No, it hasn't surprised me. I think that the president himself is, I think, much more judicious during his 47th presidency, as well as his team, than in the 45th presidency. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for him, for the administration, for the America First agenda, both legally and legislatively. And he's surrounded by a great team. And so, look, I have great relationships with the president, with the people that surround the president, the chief of staff, the deputy chiefs of staff, the political team. But at the end of the day, I think the president is wise to let this particular race flesh out a little bit more. I anticipate this going to a runoff between me and Chip Soy, which again will provide the voters with a stark contrast between Paxton-endorsed, Trump-trusted Aaron Reitz versus Paxton-hating, Trump-hating Chip Roy. And then, look, at that point, we'll see what the president wants to do. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me, though. This is consistent with how the president has been.
What is I'm trying to think, what is a change? That may be the wrong word, but what are some changes that you would like to bring to the AG's office if you win?
Look, what I always joke for those who are Spinal Tap fans, we're going to turn it up to 11. I know that it's hard to believe that we could go even more intense in the all-out justice war against the dark forces of the left. But I'm going to find a way to do it. In fact, this is why Attorney General Paxton, when he endorsed me to succeed him, said that Aaron Reitz will make the greatest Attorney General Texas has ever seen. And so I've got big shoes to fill in succeeding Ken Paxton, who's served our state very effectively over the past 12 years. But I think if you look at my record, we're going to find ways to go even harder and hotter. Now, what I'll tell you is that one of the unique advantages that I bring to the table, as somebody who previously served and was vetted to serve in the senior ranks of the Trump administration at DOJ, is we have a unique opportunity for the first 2 of my 4-year term to really partner with the full spectrum of the Trump administration to bring all of that alignment benefits to Texas. And so, look, the Attorney General of Texas is the managing partner of the largest red state law firm in the nation. Where the Attorney General leads our state throughout the justice system, all of the other states, all the other red states follow. I know this from personal experience as Paxton's prior deputy. And so we have a unique opportunity with an ally in the White House to partner together, get our oars rowing in the same direction, and to bring that to bear in Texas. What does that mean? It means accelerating mass deportations. It means cracking down on Sharia and Islamification. It means breaking the backs of these big blue cities and counties that are turning our urban centers into cesspools of fraud, waste, abuse, criminality. It means encouraging government transparency. It means smoking out wokeism wherever it may be found, like in our K through 12 school districts and in higher education and government institutions. It means advancing conservatism in every court, in every corner of the state, in both the state and federal systems. And I'm uniquely positioned to do that.
All right, Aaron, tell folks where they can view more about your campaign and your issues that you're campaigning on.
Yeah, well, folks can start by going to my website, aaronreitz.com, AARONREITZ.com. You can also follow me on social media. I'm very active. Aaron_Reitz, AARON_REITZ. The most important thing that people can do now, Chad, as you know, is to get out to the polls. Early voting is happening right now. We're on day 2 of early voting. Get out to the polls and vote Aaron Reitz for Attorney General, Trump's true MAGA attorney, Paxton endorsed, Marine Corps officer, fighter, ready to bring the heat against the left in the justice system. Aaron Reitz for Attorney General.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much. Good luck out there. We'll talk to you down the road.
Yes, sir. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Aaron Reitz running for Texas Attorney General. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio. The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Securing America.
War Secretary Pete Hegseth has been highly focused on improving the defense industrial process.
It's time to ensure that our nation's military capabilities are prepared to meet the modern security challenges of rapid change, sophisticated weaponry, and growing adversarial strength.
Recently, the Secretary announced the next step, entitled Business Operators for National Defense, or BOND, private individuals working together with the Pentagon.
Leaders with decades of experience at world-class companies such as Apple, Ford, Microsoft, and Tesla directly into our acquisition process.
The effect?
Through these collaborations, we're actively accelerating acquisition speed, increasing manufacturing, optimizing production, and strengthening supply chain resilience.
Hegseth says the bottom line is this.
Falling behind schedule is not in our vocabulary when it comes to the defense industrial base.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
As you get ready in the morning and as you drive home from work, stay informed with the latest news from lawmakers across Texas and the rest of the country with Fox News every day right here on News Talk KFYO.
Back on the Chad AC Show. Thanks again to Aaron Reitz for joining the program. I like Aaron Reitz. He's you can tell he's boy, is he a fighter? Oh boy, is he? He's a fighter. He's throwing punches out there. He is. The polling that's out there shows that Chip Roy is at about 48%. I don't know if he's going to stay at 48%, but he's at about 48%. You've got Mays Middleton, MAGA Mays Middleton, who is it's like a coin toss between who's next. You got Joan Huffman, who's there. I don't think she'll get into the runoff. She's kind of taking a more softer approach to everything. Let me tell you, look, they're all going to sue a Democrat administration. I can tell you. I have no doubt whatsoever, they're all going to sue the Democrats. They're all going to go after the woke and the left, and they're all going to do that. You know, the whole attacks on Chip Roy, Trump doesn't like. Well, Trump hasn't come out and said that in the race. Have they gotten into it? Yeah, because Chip Roy has held a more conservative hardline stance in the House of Representatives than what Trump has wanted him to. Chip Roy has been fighting for less spending overall. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Have they gotten on each other's nerves? Yes. But Trump hasn't come out and endorsed anyone in this race. And, Ted Cruz, smart guy, Ted Cruz, he knows the law, former Solicitor General for Texas, he did endorse Chip Roy. Ken Paxton, current AG, is doing really well as AG. He's endorsed Aaron Reitz. I think it was probably, there's a very good chance that Aaron Reitz makes it into the runoff. But Mays Middleton, he's dropping a lot of money. Oh, he's dropping a lot of money on this race. And he's someone who's very conservative as well. We're going to try to get Mays Middleton on next week. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
The Chad Hasty Show podcast, available on any podcast platform.
Find it on Apple, Spotify, the KFYO app, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com.
Check it out.
News Talk 95.1, 790 KFYO Lubbock, KFYO.com, a Town Square media station.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
A possible new angle in the search for Nancy Guthrie. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. As polygraph testing has been going on at the Pima County Sheriff's Office.
It is unclear at this point how many individuals have been tested or their identities. And the Sheriff's Office will not confirm at this point that the testing is related to the Guthrie case. But significantly, they did not deny that either.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tucson. The search for the 84-year-old mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie is in its third week. Yesterday, authorities said DNA testing of a glove found near the scene did not match any profile in the FBI's database. 8 skiers are dead. One is missing after an avalanche in the Sierra Nevada mountains near Lake Tahoe.
An avalanche warning went into effect yesterday morning as the group of 15 4 guides and 11 skiers were finishing up a 3-day skiing expedition near Castle Peak, a popular backcountry ski area near the city of Truckee in Lake Tahoe. As the group was leaving, police say one of the skiers yelled avalanche, and it all came tumbling down, burying the 9 women and 6 men in a slide described as a football field in length.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Sausalito. 6 from the guided tour were rescued 6 hours after the avalanche hit as a monster winter storm pummeled the West Coast. Forecasters warning of a possible winter storm impacting the Midwest and Northeast later this week and into the weekend.
We could see a widespread
3 to 5 inches up into Wisconsin as well as into Minnesota to the northeast as the system rolls through. We could see another 3 to 5 inches for areas close to Boston and even farther up north into those higher elevations too.
Fox Weather's Bane Frody, who says there's a potential that the Northeast could have a blockbuster snowstorm, but a number of factors need to line up for that to happen. America is listening to Fox News.
The Lutheran.
Reason, Religion, and Reality is a radio project of the Constitutionalist Society, LLC. Each week, a panel of 4 conservative, liberty-loving constitutionalists discuss topics dealing with the fundamental building blocks of our country and how it applies to religion and perception. We unapologetically discuss sensitive topics most steer clear from. Listen online at KFYO.com or the KFYO app. Reason, Religion, and Reality, Sunday, noon to 2 on News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.
South Plains weather forecast as we move through this Wednesday. Now temperatures dropping overnight tonight near 42 degrees. So a nice evening and a nice morning on Thursday. The temperature around 67 degrees. A little cooler on Friday morning with high temperatures mid-60s on Friday. Weather brought to you by Sonic and the All-American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Yes, we're back on the Chad Hasty Show. A reminder, tomorrow at this time, we will be knee-deep into the Texas 19 Republican primary debates hosted by the Lubbock County Republican Party out at Hillcrest Country Club. Doors open at 4 p.m. Everybody's invited. Heavy hors d'oeuvres. I have no idea what that means. But I've been told heavy, not light hors d'oeuvres, but heavy hors d'oeuvres will be served prior to the event. Doors open at 4 p.m. The debate, of course, will air right here on this radio station. So everybody in Texas 19 will get to hear the debate. You can either tune in or you can be live in person out at Hillcrest Country Club, and yours truly will serve as debate moderator. I've been putting together the questions, checking them over them twice, all that kind of good stuff. And we'll be ready for the debate tomorrow. So come out and join us. If you can't come out, guess what? You can hear it live. If you can't hear it live, podcast. It'll be available after the show. You can always go back and listen to it. How about that real quick before we get to our next guest? The headline here from Texas Monthly. John Cornyn held a rally for supporters. They were nearly outnumbered by media. Ooh. Ouch. No, that's not what you want to hear. They had tweeted out, the Cornyn campaign had tweeted out yesterday, look everybody, a nearly packed room. And I'm like, that's 3 tables. That's a bad lunch rush that's going on right there. Like the waitress is not making any money in tips off of that crowd. And so it appears as though nearly more media were in attendance at, they just say a South Austin Tex-Mex restaurant. I don't even say where. Anyway, let's go to the phones. A man who is probably going to be somewhere on the Riverwalk later tonight. He's reporting from San Antonio. It's our good friend Scott Braddock, editor of QuorumReport.com. Welcome back, Scott. How are you today?
And probably walking the Riverwalk with a cigar, because why not? I mean, it's beautiful, right? The weather in Austin and San Antonio region, just gorgeous. This is the Chamber of Commerce weather, as they say, right?
Very nice.
It's been quite a day reporting on this stuff. What was the Texas Monthly story about Cornyn? I couldn't hear all that.
Yeah, apparently, he held his Get Out the Vote. It was his first Get Out the Vote rally. And apparently the supporters were nearly outnumbered by the media.
Well, that was not my experience with Senator Cornyn in San Antonio yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
He had quite a few supporters at the old Red Barn restaurant in sort of the north part of San Antonio, kind of up in the Alamo Heights area. And that restaurant, the Barn Door, has been used by Republicans for their campaign events for decades. Former Speaker Strauss used to hold his events there, as well as State Representative Steve Allison when he was in office. And it was a lot of the, I would just say, old guard Republican, leaders and voters, a few former state representatives who were there, as well as Rolando Pablos, who's the former Secretary of State. And in Cornyn's campaign, look, he's really turning up the heat and doing everything that he can to try to set. I would say it this way: he's trying to set the stage for what will be a robust runoff. There is acknowledgement, full acknowledgement, right, from his campaign and those others who are competing, that there will be a runoff. And the way one of the campaign insiders said it there was, hey, look, Scott, we're getting ready to go to this runoff. And then at that point on March 3rd, that night, not even wait till March 4th, but as soon as you know that there's a runoff coming, on the evening of March 3rd, they're ready to start going thermonuclear on what they expect to be a runoff with Ken Paxton and try to take the guy down. And look, you think about what has happened in these runoffs in the past. They do not favor the incumbents. And the runoff in Texas, as you know, is when the most ardent and, in this era, the most MAGA Republican voters are going to be out there, the kind of folks who would be so motivated that they would crawl through broken glass in the rain to vote for their candidate. That environment, of course, is going to favor a candidate like Paxton. And let's think of it this way. It's usually the incumbent who loses in a runoff, but Paxton, as an incumbent, won a runoff just 4 years ago. Right, against George P. Bush. And so some of that calculus is a little bit different. When they say we're going to go thermonuclear against Paxton, with all the stuff that's been thrown at him so far, I'm not sure what that means exactly. So are they
going to put his home address out there, or what are they going to do?
Well, I think we'll see what exactly that means, but no doubt Senator Cornyn has the financial resources to make whatever that looks like happen. So we'll figure it out after March 3rd.
I want to throw this out there, and I've seen the discussion. I'm not there on this.
I know what you're going to say. Let's go.
No,
do it.
I'm not there on this possibility. But what happens if Cornyn doesn't make the runoff?
Then that's it. I mean, he's done. And
I know that, but I mean, how big is that?
Well, then we figure out whether the MAGA candidate who's not getting divorced right at this moment can be the senator. And I do think, and I think you agree with this, that in that possible, and I'm with you. I'm not quite ready to say that that's going to happen. I still think the likelihood is a Cornyn-Paxton runoff. But for sake of discussion, if it's a Wes Hunt and Paxton runoff, I kind of think Hunt could pull it off. Yeah. And I think this is the trend right now, and I don't know if the trend's going to continue into a runoff, but as I travel the state, in South Texas this week, Houston a couple of weeks ago, DFW in the meantime, all over the place, talking to Republican voters, I get the sense that Hunt seems like a viable option for those Republicans who do identify as MAGA and fully support President Trump, but they're not comfortable with all of the with the scandals and all the allegations that come along with a Ken Paxton candidacy. And it might actually be, this could be interesting, in the first round of voting in the Democratic and Republican primaries for U.S. Senate, the electability question has been front and center. On the Democratic side, James Tallarico arguing that he's the electable one. And in the Republican primary, you've got Cornyn arguing that he's hands down by the numbers the most electable one in November. But it seems like the voters are kind of rejecting that right now. It seems like they want the fighter instead. So you might end up with Jasmine Crockett being seen as the more pugilistic of the two Democrats, while Paxton might be seen that way by some Republicans. But in a Republican runoff in which both of the candidates are seen as having, let me put it this way, legit MAGA credentials, both Hunt and Paxton, you know this, Chad, when there's no daylight on policy or on politics with two candidates, that's when those races get the nastiest, right? That's when they become the most personal. I remember covering some of these races 10 years ago or more when you would have two candidates. For example, when David Dewhurst faced off with Senator Cruz, you remember that on policy, these are people who don't really disagree on very much. Some things here and there. But those races become so personal because that's what they have to be about, because they don't disagree on issues. So instead it becomes a question of who would be the better leader and who has the character that the voters would approve of, representing them in Washington. And so we might get to that runoff. If you had Hunt and Paxton, it'd be fascinating to watch, right? Because which way do voters go on that when both of them can basically claim, that they fully support President Trump and his agenda, and voters have no reason to disbelieve that with either one of them, and whether Hunt then really would go after Paxton the way Cornyn would do when it comes to these questions of his character.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what happens. It's
interesting to think about.
Yeah, the primary's here, folks. You can get out and vote.
It's happening.
Let's see. Down in San Antonio, there have been calls for a resignation out there. What's going on?
You've seen this in the news, a huge headline where it's not every day that we have the AK guy, Brandon Herrera, who, of course, is known for his podcast and has run for Congress before against Representative Tony Gonzalez. Not every day that he's clicking like on one of the Quorum Report's tweets. But he did on this because, we had boosted the story, promoted it out there from an excellent report by Bayless Wagner at San Antonio Express News in San Antonio. She had reported out that, you have these ex-staffers to Congressman Gonzalez confirming the story that he had an affair with the woman who we talked about previously, who set herself on fire in Uvalde County in an apparent suicide. And all over the district in San Antonio, down to Uvalde, I'm hearing all the chatter from all around South Texas that this district takes in. Chad, people are talking about this. It's visceral. People are disgusted by this whole situation. Here you have an extramarital affair that is essentially being confirmed, and you have the congressman not saying anything about it, and his deflection on this is the way a lot of people see it here. A lot of Republicans see it that way. They think that when he says, well, it's interesting that this story comes out right as early voting is starting. The reasons that it's taken a long time for some of this confirmation to come out is because his campaign has not talked about it, has avoided answering any questions about it, and as we previously reported on Quorum Report Radio on our podcast, you had the Uvalde Police Department dragging their feet on releasing any information about this in similar fashion to the way folks in Uvalde have taken their sweet time to let us know about certain details about the Robb Elementary School massacre. So here you have, a terribly timed story for Gonzalez. People calling for his resignation now. Brandon Herrera, his challenger, one of those, saying that he should step aside. And keep this in mind, I think it was only a vote margin of about 350 votes the last time Herrera and Tony Gonzalez faced off in an election in the primary 2 years ago. And this will be something that will be significant to watch. President Trump has endorsed Gonzalez, the one who's accused here of having this extramarital affair with this young woman who killed herself. And Gonzalez may say, I'm not going to step aside, I'm not going to resign. And what do voters in this area do? One thing to keep in mind about it in this whole picture with South Texas races is this is the part of the state that's truly competitive in November for a Republican or a Democrat in this particular district. I would say, and I talked with a lot of Republican operatives about it over the last 24 hours, if Herrera, who is seen as, I would would just say, as more of an extreme candidate. That's the way a lot of people around here feel about it. If he's the candidate, this district is a little safer for a Republican than it was before the redistricting, when they changed up the congressional district. So it's one of those that Democrats might have a shot at. It's an open question about whether they would have a better shot at it if the person running as the Republican nominee is accused of all this, the way Gonzalez is, or if the person is extreme, or seen as extreme by a lot of people, the way Herrera is. But there's a reason that President Trump endorsed Gonzalez, because before this confirmation of this scandal, he was seen as the safer candidate in November. And I think when you look at the president's his endorsements throughout South Texas, some of these congressional races, the White House has put a real focus on trying to find those candidates who do have, by the numbers, a better shot of holding or winning these seats in the fall.
All right. What else can people follow over at quorumreport.com?
Oh, man, the voting is underway. We will, in just a few moments, we'll publish the initial early vote totals in some of the larger counties. We still don't see numbers coming in yet from the Secretary of State, but there are some areas, Chad, where we've seen record voting so far, and some other areas where it's down to a trickle. And in some places that have traditionally voted for Republicans, at least for right now, Democrats are outvoting the Republicans. So we'll get those numbers to you at quorumreport.com. Click free sign up, and we'll keep you in the loop. All right, very good. Scott, as always, appreciate your time. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks, Chad. Talk soon.
Talk to you later. That's Scott Braddock, editor of quorumreport.com. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
TSN headlines: Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton seeking over $1 million in civil penalties from Children's Health System of Texas and Dallas Dr. Jason Jaron over charges of illegal gender transition surgery on a minor. Paxton refers to Jaron as a radical gender activist. Children's Health System responded with statements saying they comply with all applicable local, state, and federal health care laws. Allen police have arrested skating coach Benjamin Schultz. At one time, he coached Olympic skater Amber Glenn of Plano. Now he's under arrest for sexual assault. Police say the victims are two of his athletes. Police say they are investigating allegations of abuse that began when one of them was a minor. A Plano dentist has been arrested for allegedly performing surgery while intoxicated at a pediatric dental office in Sherman. Texas Supreme Court has made a big ruling that could affect your homeowner's insurance. They ruled damage from tornadoes qualifies as wind damage. With your Texas news headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
Former lobbyist Sid Miller is flying high, and Texans are paying the price. As Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller spends our money traveling the globe with 48 taxpayer-funded overseas trips planned this year alone. And while Sid Miller travels the world on our dime, foreign adversaries like China and the Muslim Brotherhood are buying up Texas farmland from right under our feet. It's why Governor Abbott called Miller an utter failure. But thankfully, we have a choice. Abbott endorsed Nate Sheets as running for Ag Commissioner to put farmers first. Nate Sheets is a proud veteran and Christian who built America's #1 honey company from a single beehive in his backyard. As Ag Commissioner, Nate will fight to improve the bottom line for farmers and ranchers and help Trump stop foreign enemies from buying up our land. Governor Abbott, Texas Farm Bureau, and the Texas Cattle Raisers stand with Nate Sheets. Vote conservative Republican Nate Sheets for Ag Commissioner.
I'm Nate Sheets, and I approve of this message. Political ad paid for by Nate Sheets Campaign.
South Plains weather forecast as we move through this Wednesday. Now temperatures dropping overnight tonight near 42 degrees. So a nice evening and a nice morning on Thursday. The temperature around 67 degrees. A little cooler on Friday morning with high temperatures mid-60s on Friday. Weather brought to you by Sonic and the All-American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. Republicans are starting to refine their campaign message ahead of the midterm elections. It's one President Trump has been testing. Also, it's less expensive than a raise, so in a period of cutbacks, many companies instead are splurging on free lunches. Hear how fancy they get. And the day of the week when it's cheapest to fill up your tank. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. Weekday mornings at 5 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
I'm Anna Eliopoulos with your Fox True Crime Minute. It took just 5 hours for a verdict to come down in a case that shocked New Jersey. Paul Canero was found guilty of 4 counts of murder, 2 counts of aggravated arson, and weapons counts in the 2018 killings of his brother Keith, his sister-in-law Jennifer, and their 2 children, 8 and 11 years old, shot and stabbed to death in their mansion, which was then set on fire in an attempt to cover up the crimes. Prosecutors argue it all stemmed from a business relationship between the brothers that went bad after Keith Canero discovered Paul was stealing money from the business and from him personally. The defense argued that Canero didn't murder anyone, that he and his brother were best friends and would never harm his nephew and niece, who he, quote, cherished and adored. Canero now faces life in prison when he is sentenced in May. There's more on this story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime podcast. I'm Anna Eliopoulos with your Fox True Crime Minute.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
From the Panhandle to the South Plains to the Big Country, it's the Chad Hasty Show.
Yeah, that's right. And our next guest, he's got one of those districts that it covers a large swath of our listening area. It goes into a couple of our listening areas, of course. And if you're tuning in, no matter where you are at, in Amarillo, Lubbock, Abilene, Wichita Falls. Don't forget, you can always pick up these interviews on the podcast after the show. The Chad Hasty Show podcast, available on Spotify and Apple Podcast and other podcast platforms as well. Joining us to discuss his campaign for re-election in House District 88, we have Ken King, Chairman Ken King, joining us here on the program. And Chairman King, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Chad. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you taking a little time on this Wednesday evening to join us to talk about your campaign. Your campaign's getting there's a lot of spotlight both on social media and on the TV ad wars that are out there. You've got former state reps and I guess also current state reps who are coming to your defense and others who are coming out against you in some of these ads. Kind of talk to us about what your campaign is, kind of dealing, because you're saying there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Oh, absolutely. It's all bald face lies, and it's just normal. If you tell a lie enough times, it must be true. They won't debate me or talk about my actual record. They just make things up based on amendments that were never designed to pass as bills. They were just amendments to the next campaign season. Somebody could tell a lie about it, and it's normal. I've been doing this a while, and I've never seen a race quite like this. Essentially the hate and the lies came in, millions of dollars, all to be spent in 30 days, and the people that are paying for it finally found them an opponent that has no line he won't cross.
So what are some of the lies that I know they're saying that you voted against an amendment that would have, stopped the social transitioning of children. I think that's one of the big ones that they're hitting you with. How do you address that?
Well, number one, the bill that they were talking about didn't even happen last session. It happened in the 88th session. Representative J.C. Jaton had a bill that essentially was designed to put more mental health facilities and money into all over Texas, but particularly in rural Texas. You know, Chad, we have a mental health crisis going on, and rural Texas isn't exempt from that. The amendment that Tony Tinderholt brought up, it said a kid transitioning could not be admitted into any mental health facility. Well, if you don't think a kid transitioning has a mental health problem, nobody does. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you know, honestly, in that same session, you may remember we funded a mental health facility to go in Amarillo. Is that important? You can ask every county official, judge, sheriff, you name it. What's the biggest drain on your budget? Mental health crisis. Right. Mental health services. I supported a bill that would have put more facilities into my district, and Representative Thunderbolt's amendment wasn't designed to become a bill. It was designed to screw up a bill. You know, Tony Tinderholt was in the House for probably a decade, and I don't think the guy ever passed a bill. He he filed thousands of amendments, but he could never get his own agenda across the finish line. That amendment was a farce, and they're just lying about it. You know, the truth is, on my record, in that same session, I co-sponsored Senate Bill 14 that banned all gender modification surgeries for children, as well as hormone therapies on children. And if doctors continue to do it, they'll lose their license and go to jail. That's what I co-sponsored. So, and so for them to come in and even suggest that funding transitional surgeries is even an option in Texas is a bald-faced lie, and it's dangerous. The legislature spoke very clearly on what Texas thinks of doing any of that with children. So, you know, so it's pretty easy to see that was a lie. But, you know, fast forward to this session. The bathroom bill. We've had the bathroom bill debate for years and years. Yeah. Well, the problem really was there's no definition. So if Tommy decides he's going to beat Tammy and some liberal judge says that they can, then there's no policy to stop men going in women's restrooms. What I did as chair of state affairs is I pushed House Bill 229 through, which was the What is a Woman Act. When Donald Trump got back in the White House, one of the first things he did was sign the Riley Gaines Act to protect women. Texas took that language and created a bill. It came through state affairs, and it defined a man and a woman biologically based on, at birth, does the child have the equipment to produce sperm or ova? It took all the chromosome debate out. That's the first thing we did. Second thing we did was we passed the doctor bill where medical facilities no longer are required to play along with the farce. If a man comes in and says they're a woman, they still have to be registered in a medical facility as their biological sex. And then finally, we did pass the bathroom bill. Angela Ord did a great job carrying that bill. And today, in taxpayer-funded buildings, women's private spaces are protected. But let's go back to the definition for a minute. Now you and your radio station can create that policy in your private business, and you can't be sued because the legislature finally put a definition in statute. That's what I did on the subject.
Yeah. We're visiting with Chairman Ken King. He's running for re-election in HD 88, and of course, I mean you've long held that seat, and I know that you've faced quite a few attacks out there. There's another attack from a current state rep going against you as well. That's I guess hitting you on killing good conservative legislation, even in this past session. What would you how would you address that?
Well, if a bill was authored by Wes Burdell, it was probably not passed for various reasons. And if you've ever met Representative Burdell, you would understand that. You know, this guy came in the legislature, doesn't want to work with anybody. He doesn't want to file a piece of legislation that can pass. And then he votes against everything that is good for rural Texas. You know, he voted against House Bill 318 that created a grant program to help sheriff's departments in rural counties. He voted against Senate Bill 513, creating a rural community-based care pilot program. That bill passed the Texas Senate unanimously, and he was the only member of the Texas House to vote against it. House Bill 13 was a bill I authored that was designed to solve inoperability, and inoperability is the communication problem we have, particularly in a disaster. When you have a fire, in our case, it takes about 36 hours for the state resources to be able to talk to the locals. And solving inoperability is a huge problem. He voted against that. You know, he voted against everything that helped rural Texas just for no reason. And in many cases, he was the only one that voted against it. And then his district flooded, and he was in a mess. He actually said to me, "I'm sorry, I voted against all that. Now I understand why this is so important." I led him on the Disaster Preparedness and Flood Mitigation Committee I chair because it was his district that was affected. Tried to help this guy in every way possible, and some people you just can't help. I'll tell you one thing, the representatives that do support me and have come to my defense, I'd take them all day long, twice on Sunday.
You also have the endorsement of Trump. You've got the endorsement of the governor. So that must be good to have in your back pocket.
Well, absolutely. And so let's go back to the lies you'd asked about. So President Trump, Governor Abbott, Senator Cruz have endorsed me. But we hear a lot about grassroots from this other camp. It doesn't get more grassroots in our area than Farm Bureau, Texas Cattle Raisers, Texas Cattle Feeders, Texas Oil and Gas Association, realtors, on and on and on. People that my constituents actually participate in these associations, and every one of them has endorsed me. I don't believe I would have any endorsements, much less President Trump's endorsement, if any of this nonsense was true.
Yeah. Visiting with Ken King, Chairman King, here on the program. Let's fast forward a little bit. Let's say you win re-election, you're heading back down to Austin. What are some of the things you want to focus on in the next session?
Absolutely. You know, after the 2024 Panhandle wildfires, we had our wildfire investigative committee that Speaker Burrows was actually part of. And we took what we learned in that committee process to the legislature, and we changed a lot of laws that needed changing and had a lot of successes. There were some things that we didn't get done. Back on this inoperability problem, that's a problem that needs to be solved because Texas has more disasters than any other state. And part of this disaster mitigation, other than saving lives and property, is we're to the place we've had so many disasters, we're not going to be able to afford property and casualty insurance. So I intend on focusing on disaster mitigation, and whether it's a flood or a fire, hurricane, most disasters have some synergies that we can cobble together. When we start doing that and reinvesting in our infrastructure, then we're going to solve the insurance problem. Those are all real problems that need to be solved. You know, we have a real Sharia law problem growing in Texas. The other thing I did as chair of State Affairs, I stopped the EPIC project from happening in the Metroplex, but they're coming back, and we need to take this Sharia law crisis that's growing in Texas. We need to take it very seriously because those people don't like us.
Yeah,
and I intend on addressing that head on.
All right, very good. Where can people find out more information about you and your campaign?
KingForTexas.com, and certainly we're on Facebook and Twitter under that same moniker. My Austin office, that information to call the Austin office or the campaign or the district office rather, can be found on any of those sites. We're an open book. If anybody's got a question or wants a direct answer, tell them to give us a call.
All right, will do. And Chairman King, appreciate you taking some time to join us here on the program on this Wednesday evening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Chad, I can't thank you enough for giving me the time, and I'm looking forward to doing it again whenever you say.
All right, sounds good to me. That's Chairman Ken King in HD 88, running for re-election in the Republican primary, of course, and running for re-election overall to serve HD 88. When we come back, your phone calls, your texts, we'll wrap the show up when we return.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Hi, Angie. This is your phone here in the cup holder. Pick me up.
No, I'm driving.
Oh, look, a text from Mr. Dreamy.
Hush, driving here.
I'm getting an email. Gwen is giving away free bunnies.
No, you are so pushy.
I know. I need therapy. Let's search it now.
Phone, quiet.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
From the heart of the hub city to the wide open skies of West Texas, KFYO keeps you connected to the stories, the voices, and the conversations that matter most. This is the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.